A car worth over $200,000 today that speeds down the track in just 13.2 seconds is the drag strip king of the 1960s. And then there's this Plymouth Roadrunner that broke its record with 13-second speed down. Well, with today's list of 10 fastest muscle cars of the 1960s, we'll blow your mind. From the Pontiac GTO Royal Bobcat to the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, these 10 fastest muscle cars brought something special and exciting. Are you ready to see which cars made our list? Well, let's get started. Number 10. Firstly, let's talk about the 1968 Pontiac GTO Royal Bobcat that was already a muscle car monster. But the Royal Pontiac wasn't satisfied. They wanted even more, so they took a regular GTO and shoved a bigger, meaner 428 cubic inch V8 engine under the hood. This engine was like a heavyweight boxer, powerful and ready to rumble. But Royal Pontiac didn't stop there. They knew a bigger engine needed a better ride. To control this beast, they threw in a 4-speed manual transmission, and this gave drivers total control over all that power, letting them shift gears like a pro. The coolest part is that, even though it was a ferocious racer, the Royal Bobcat kept its comfy interior. They left the original vinyl and wood trim untouched so you could race down the quarter mile in 13.8 seconds in style. Number 9. In 1968, Chevrolet decided that size wasn't everything. The engine wasn't the biggest, even with a 302 cubic inch powerhouse, but what the 1968 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 RS lacked in size, it made up for in pure muscle. This engine had 350 horsepower, enough to get your adrenaline pumping and launch you off the starting line like a slingshot. The Camaro Z28 RS was built to be lightweight and agile. It had a special rear differential that helped put the power down effectively, and a suspension tightened up for those quick bursts of speed. As a result, it had a 13.8 second quarter mile time. That's right, this little Camaro could hang with the big boys, even with a bit less engine under the hood. Number 8. Let's take a trip back to 1968, at a time when muscle cars ruled the streets. Today we'll be setting our sights on a rare beast, the Shelby GT 500 KR. Now only 1,571 of these beauties roamed the earth that year, making them instant classics. The 1968 Shelby GT 500 KR, which stands for King of the Road, wasn't just about good looks. Under the hood lurked a mighty 428 cubic inch Super Cobra V8 engine. It turned out an impressive 335 horsepower and 440 pound-feet of torque. But the engineers at Shelby were not done there. They wanted to make sure this Mustang could handle all that muscle. They added special staggered rear shocks to prevent the wheels from hopping during hard launches. They even reinforced the suspension to create a more stable platform. All these tweaks paid off. The Shelby GT 500 KR could devour a quarter mile in just 13.9 seconds, seriously quick for its time. While that placed it at number 8 on our list, it was still a force to be reckoned with on the racetrack. Number 7. In the muscle car wars of 1969, the Plymouth Cuda 440 was a force to be reckoned with. This wasn't your average ride. It was a rare beast with only 358 ever built. Under the hood hid a gigantic 440 cubic inch V8 engine, a monster that churned out 375 horsepower. Now that's enough muscle to make your head snap back when you hit the gas. This mighty engine was built by the legendary Hurst Performance, known for their racing expertise. The Cuda 440 wasn't just powerful, it was built to handle that power. It had a special 4-speed automatic transmission that smoothly delivered all that horsepower to the wheels. And to make sure none of that power went to waste, they added a limited slip differential, like a superhighway for grip, ensuring the Cuda launched like a rocket, a scorching 13.8 second quarter mile time. Number 6. In 1969, Pontiac threw down the gauntlet with the GTO Judge, a muscle car that was pure muscle. Now, it wasn't just powerful, it was the coolest cat on the road. The Judge's heart was a thumping 400 cubic inch Ram Air 4 V8 engine. This beast made 370 horsepower and enough torque to launch you from 0 to grinning in no time flat. Forget fancy features like air conditioning, the Judge was all about raw performance. In fact, the engine was so big it squeezed out AC altogether, giving drivers a true, sweaty racing experience. To help you unleash all that power, the Judge came with a smooth 3-speed automatic transmission. And to keep things stable during those intense launches, the Judge had a special safety track rear differential for extra grip. Number 5. The 1969 Hurst Oldsmobile 442 was a collaboration between Oldsmobile and legendary Hurst Performance, famous for their gearboxes. Hurst saw potential in the Olds 442 and unleashed its inner beast. They did this by shoving the biggest engine Oldsmobile offered, a monstrous 455 cubic inch V8 under the hood. Now this engine pumped out 390 horsepower, turning the 442 into a rocket on wheels. But Hurst didn't stop there. They bolted on one of their own smooth 4-speed transmissions, giving drivers total control over all that power. Like all the fast cars, this also had a 13.7 second quarter-mile time, and this put the Hurst 442 among the absolute fastest muscle cars of the 1960s. But it wasn't just a speed demon. The Hurst 442 looked stunning too. Its iconic white and gold paint job made it a head-turning masterpiece and a true muscle car legend. Number 4. In 1969, the muscle car wars were in full swing, and Dodge threw down the gauntlet with the 1969 Dodge Charger RT Hemi. Now, this wasn't your average Charger. It was a tire-shredding monster. The heart of the beast was a legendary 426 Hemi engine. Imagine a giant engine crammed under the hood. And that's the kind of power we're talking about. It turned out a whopping 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque. Enough to make your head snap back when you hit that gas. To handle all that muscle, Dodge beefed up the suspension and gave it a special new rear end with a Dana 60 setup. This was like giving the car super strong legs so it could handle the immense power. The 1969 Dodge Charger RT Hemi could devour a quarter mile in just 13.5 seconds, and that made it one of the absolute fastest muscle cars you could buy in the 1960s. Number 3. In 1969, the muscle car world got a wake-up call with the arrival of the Plymouth Roadrunner A12. Now, this wasn't your average Roadrunner. This one was built for speed. Nicknamed the Vitamin C car because of its citrusy paint jobs, the A12 packed a serious punch under the hood. Imagine a giant 440 cubic inch engine with 3 carburetors feeding it fuel. That's the kind of power the A12 sported. To handle all that muscle, engineers threw in heavy-duty parts from the legendary 426 Hemi engine, and as a result, it had 390 horsepower. Number 2. The 1969 Plymouth GTX 440 was basically a close cousin to the Dodge Charger RT Hemi. They both sported the same legendary 426 Hemi engine, a powerhouse that cranked out 425 horsepower. But here's where the GTX got special treatment. They tricked out the suspension with heavy-duty parts, specifically designed to handle all that Hemi muscle. They even added a limited slip differential. Think of it as a superhighway for grip, making sure the GTX launched flawlessly. It has the speed of 13.5 second quarter-mile time, and that tied it with the Charger, but the GTX takes the crown for another reason: its price tag. In 2024, a GTX Hemi is worth a whopping $217,000, a little more than its Dodge cousin. And number 1, among the titans of 1969, the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 stood out as the undisputed king of the drag strip. This Camaro wasn't your average ride. It was a lightweight, purpose-built machine designed to dominate in a straight line. The ZL1's secret weapon was its engine. Unlike most Camaros with heavy iron blocks, the ZL1 sported a revolutionary all-aluminum 427 cubic inch V8, and this marvel of engineering churned out with 430 horsepower, turning the Camaro into a rocket on wheels. But the ZL1's advantage wasn't just about power. The aluminum engine made the entire car lighter, giving it a significant weight advantage over other muscle cars. So which one did you like the most? Comment down below, and for more great videos, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel.